yokes! Before we get started today, we just want to let you know that this episode of Bacon and Eggs is brought to you by you! We want to build this thing to be as big as it can be. More episodes, merchandise, events, giveaways, you name it. But we can't do it alone. If you enjoy this episode, or any of our episodes, head on over to our Patreon page at patreon.com/baconandeggs and consider checking out some of the great reward tiers we've got set up all over there. Or make a donation of any kind. We want to keep this podcast free and available for everyone, so if you have a couple bucks to spare, anything goes a long way. And we could really use your help to make this podcast the best it can possibly be. So thank you for donating, and thank you even more for listening.
Howdy, yokes, and welcome back to Bacon and Eggs. I'm Tyler Carlin.
And I'm Ethan Edgehill.
And we've gone back to the roaring 20s.
In the wizarding world of New York City.
So get your wants ready.
And be sure to count your bow truckles.
Because today we're bringing you
fantastic beasts and where to find them. With a special guest.
We are joined today by a Ravenclaw from Fantastic Geeks and where to find them. None other than the wonderfully talented Tessa Netting. Tessa, this is your chance. Introduce yourself. Tell your story to the world.
Hello, guys. My name is Tessa Netting, and I'm really excited to be here on this podcast. I have my own podcast as well, like Tyler and Ethan said, Fantastic Geeks and Where to Find Them, with my best friend Brizzy Voices. We talk about all of the incredible geeky things that we love. There's a lot of, Harry Potter in there because that is our number one fandom. So it's very exciting to be here talking about Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them because it's another thing in the Harry Potter universe. So I love it very, very much. You can also find me on YouTube. I have a YouTube channel, youtube.com/Tessa Netting. Also, you might have seen me on Disney Channel or other places. I'm an actor, too. Great!
Or other places. Weren't you, in an original Broadway cast for, 1,000 shows?
Yes! I was in Billy Elliot, the musical. It was amazing. Elton John is the best.
Oh, my God!
Wait, so you've, actually met Elton John, in person?
I have partied with Elton John. The best. He is the most incredible man in the world.
I totally believe it.
Somewhere in 8 months, my mother is listening to this and is incredibly jealous.
That's amazing.
She's currently listening to our first 4 episodes today. So she's a little behind.
I understand. My mom's behind too.
She is super jealous in about, February range.
Right.
He has the biggest head in a good way and also the biggest rings. Those are the two things that I noticed as a child, and I was like, wow, look at this man. And I have one more Elton John story. So we were backstage before the show started, and this was after our opening night performance, and so he was coming out, or actually it was after the show, because we were about to do the curtain call, and he was coming to bow with us, and we were on the side, and he comes, and we were all dancing because we were so excited, and he comes dancing next to us in a tutu, and he's like, you girls sure know how to party, and he was dancing along with us, and it was amazing. And that's,
oh my God,
the first thing that Elton John has ever said to me, and it was the best.
Golly, I haven't had first words with Elton John yet. I gotta beat that. I gotta find a way.
He says some incredible words, so if you ever meet him, you might be able to beat it.
That was officially the coolest thing anybody's said on this podcast so far.
Awesome. So this movie was released on November 18th, 2016. That was 564 days ago as of this recording. Yeah, with a shoestring $180 million budget. It made it back, got some Yeezys off that one with $814 million worldwide. Pretty well received by critics, very similar to the one we talked about last week with Solo, A Star Wars Story. A 74% critic rating, 79% audience rating on Rotten Tomatoes, and a 66 on Metacritic, which is 1 point better than Deadpool 1. And that's enough for me. I'll take that.
Oh, I did not mean to leave the comment about Deadpool 1 in there, but it's great. It's true.
Is it true?
Yeah, it's the same score, 66 points.
Perfect.
It's the same score as Deadpool 2.
Now, Ethan, as you and I are not professionals, we are merely movie lovers.
Yes.
We'd love to hear a critic's take. Do you have a negative review of this movie for us?
I do. It comes from Mark Medley of The Globe. I guess the whole thing, the whole Globe.
The whole one.
He's the one Mark Medley, and he says,
The Daily Planet.
The problem with this spin-off is, like Homework, you'd rather be doing something else with your time. As the end credits rolled, I half expected to be handed a multiple-choice test. Please identify the Niffler. Which one is the demiguise? At least the monsters, when compared to their co-stars, have some personality.
Brutal.
So
I
Mark
like
Medley-
Homework.
Do you? When it comes to Harry Potter, I believe it.
Any Homework. I'm a Ravenclaw. I always loved Homework, so sorry.
Well, that's good. Sounds like you and Mark Medley wouldn't get along.
We would.
I do have a positive review.
Okay.
This comes from Anthony Lane of The New Yorker. Now, everybody remember The New Yorker is where our friend Richard Brody works, who hates every movie. But under him works Anthony Lane, who apparently likes some good things. So, Anthony Lane says, David Yates' movie with a script by Rowling herself marks a welcome change from the cloistered settings and adolescent agonies of the Potter franchise, and offers more of an opportunity for the supernatural to knock against the humdrum. The subway can be scarier than a castle.
Humdrum.
Yeah, I feel like he's like, this movie was great, but you know what wasn't great? Those other 8 movies in this franchise.
Have you guys ever read the book Carry On by Rainbow Rowell?
I'm not.
I have not.
So there's it's basically parroting Harry Potter a little bit and focused on like 2 guys. It's more like a dreary fic, but an actual book. It's amazing. It's one of my favorite books ever. But the Voldemort type character is called the Insidious Humdrum. So I was like, oh wow, that's like immediately what I thought of. I was like, oh, Humdrum. But this guy would probably hate that book even more if he hated Harry Potter. So
Yeah, it sounds like he's not about adolescent issues.
yeah, exactly. Oh wow! So those are 2 interesting takes.
Yeah, so people
yeah.
predominantly liked it. My guy did not like it, Mark Medley. He thought it was like Homework.
Which I like.
Could you, real quick, Ethan, could you identify a Niffler and a demiguise real quick?
Yeah, the Niffler is the little thing that looks like a weird black hairy platypus
Yep.
/ porcupine thing. It looks like it might be soft, but it might also be spiky.
I think it's soft.
I can't really tell because its back fur is kind of weird. And
Right.
the demiguise is the thing that looks like if Dumbledore was a chimpanzee.
That's a great description of a demiguise.
But most of the time it looks like nothing.
Yes. So you know what that is. You nailed
I
it.
do. I could totally pass that test. The one thing I couldn't name, and I didn't catch it anytime they said it, which was numerous times, was the bird thing that flies into the teapot and gets real small.
Oh, the Akami?
Is that an Akami?
Yes, that's
Okay,
an
so that's
Akami.
the thing that came out of the egg at the beginning of the movie.
Yes, Akami.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Because that
Yeah,
didn't
and they
sound
grow to
like
fit
what he
their
was
space.
saying.
Yeah, that one was harder to catch. You had to really like look up that one. I was calling it snakebird for a while until I figured out it was an Akami.
Snakebird's a pretty accurate thing. So I'm going to go out on a wild limb here
Yeah.
and make a pronouncement or maybe just ask a question.
Okay.
Tessa, I feel like you probably liked this movie.
I did. I went into it though. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna experience it, see what happens. I might like it more, I might like it less, I might not like it, but that's okay too. I was giving myself like, if I don't like this, I'm gonna keep it separate from the Harry Potter movies and books and like in my mind. So I made it separate. So, but other than that, I did like it. I really enjoyed it. It actually blew my expectations out of the water because it was better than I thought it was going to be. For me, it's like if Harry Potter and Doctor Who had a baby, and that's what this movie is.
That would be a good
fair enough.
good thing to happen. But that did happen in Prisoner of Azkaban, and people weren't happy about it with like the Time Turners and Cursed Child and all
Who
that.
does not like Prisoner of Azkaban? That's my favorite movie out of the Harry Potter movies.
Here's what happens is people don't like Time Turners.
Okay, that's fair. That's why people don't like
yeah.
Cursed Child as well.
Yeah, we've made a pronouncement that we're probably never going to do the full Harry Potter series on this show, just because it's like a very long series of movies.
It's a lot.
It's eight movies straight, and we just did all of Marvel and all of Star Wars.
Wow.
We're kind of exhausted with like long stories, so it'll be a while if ever before we do it. But a lot of people have talked to us about doing the other Harry Potter movies, and like Prisoner of Azkaban is the worst movie. Like I've had multiple people tell me that.
What?
I have no idea.
That is ridiculous. Prisoner of Azkaban is the best movie out of all of them.
It's by far
hands down. Like
out
it's
of the
no
original 8, it is
competition.
by far the
It's
best movie.
ridiculous. It's the most iconic quotable wise. It has the best quotes. It has they look like the most accurate to how Harry, Ron, and Hermione is supposed to look. It's crazy.
Right.
It's the best. It's,
Well, and everybody, they got all the casting right. Gary Oldman was
Yep.
great.
Yep.
Michael Gambon as the new Dumbledore was great.
Yep.
And it's probably the closest to the book, maybe except for the first two.
I loved it. So
Yeah,
that
I
is.
have no issues with Azkaban.
I think my only issue with Azkaban, and this is immediately off topic, is that they're just wearing street clothes the whole time. I felt like in the book, the first book, which I just never say the name of on the pod because it's just a great way to get in trouble.
That's fair.
They like make a good point to be like, you'll be wearing a wizard's hat and you'll be wearing wizard's robes and your house colors all the time.
Right.
And like even on the poster, Hermione's wearing a hoodie for Prisoner of Azkaban.
They talk
That's
frequently about them wearing hats all the time.
Right.
And no one ever wears a hat. Ever.
Yeah, they only wear the hats in the first movie. They don't wear it in any of the other movies. It's so true.
Yeah, and because I've actually been listening to the audiobooks here recently.
Oh, they're so good.
We did the first one and are now doing the second one for our online book club. And I've just been listening to Stephen Fry audiobooks, and it like picking up again on a lot of things that I notice but forget every time. And it's simple stuff like that, or the fact that like Arthur Weasley's never worn jeans before he had to drop Harry off in public.
Do you know that there's a Fantastic Beasts audiobook that Eddie Redmayne reads? It's amazing.
I did. I have listened to it.
It's so cool. I loved it.
I did not. Does he whisper through the whole thing? Is that rude? Should I not say that? Oh, gosh.
I mean, you're not wrong. You're entirely not wrong. So, real quick, this is a little thing we do on the podcast sometimes. We give it a binary review, essentially a 1 or a 0. Would you watch it or would you not watch it? Would you recommend it or would you not recommend it? I give it a 1. How do you guys feel?
I would completely recommend it, and I love it. So I don't know what that is. 1?
That'd be a 1. Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah, that's an on. When I first left the theater, I didn't have any expectations. I didn't really know a lot about it. I think with a lot of these like offshoot franchise films, like we saw with Rogue One and Solo, and now, well, I guess Solo would be the most recent. And this one, I was like, I don't know what to expect. I don't know if I should care or not. And when I first saw it, I was like, I don't care. I'm not interested. And I honestly was pretty sour about it. Now, every week we do an episode, I do rewatch the film. So I rewatched it for the first time over yesterday and today. And I very much enjoyed it the second viewing. So at the moment, I'm at a 1. I would recommend this movie to somebody. I did like it. But I feel like you guys are on a whole nother plane that I have not quite reached. And my goal is for the next 90 minutes for you to convince me to like this movie more than I do.
So your Harry Potter stock is rising. Or your Fantastic Beasts stock is rising because of your second watch of this.
Yes,
That's
and I'm
good.
interested in it rising more.
Okay, well that, I can definitely, like, take on that challenge. Real quick, did you enjoy Rogue One?
No.
Really? Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I'm gonna listen to that episode.
Did not enjoy Rogue One that much. We did quite enjoy Solo.
Oh,
Yeah, Solo
I
was
haven't seen Solo yet. I'm seeing it this week, so we'll see.
I would recommend it. Recommend it. I had somebody thank me the other day for recommending it to them. They were like, I'm not going to see it. And I was like, are you kidding? It's a Star Wars movie. Like, you need to go see it.
Oh, you have to see it.
Get your head out of your ass. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
And then he texts me back and he goes, okay, that was cool. Thank you for forcing me to go see it. And I was like, it's Star Wars.
Yeah. Did you like Last Jedi? Okay, this is my last Star Wars question, I promise.
You can ask every Star Wars question there is.
I did love Last Jedi.
I loved Last Jedi too.
I loved Last Jedi. I was so
I really liked Last
so
Jedi.
good.
Oh, I'm Last Jedi trash. Last Jedi is what got me invested in the Star Wars fandom. Like, got me on board. Like,
Hey, whatever it takes.
I'm Reylo trash. Oh, it is.
I'm all in on Reylo.
Yeah, whatever it takes you to get you interested. Like, my first Star Wars movie I saw, and I've told this many times, was The Phantom Menace back in 2000 or 1999, whenever it came out.
Yeah.
And I had never seen another Star Wars movie, and so like I didn't exactly come in on the best footing.
Right, exactly. But it's like,
Now, before we continue, I do want to note that we've got Tessa on video right now. We're not, because we're terrible. And Tessa is wearing a bacon and egg scarf.
Yeah.
Which is like the greatest thing that's ever happened.
This is like such a hit at Disneyland. Like, whenever...
Why at Disneyland?
Oh my gosh, I don't know why, but literally, I guess it's the place where, like, creative moms go, because they all come up to me and they're like, oh my gosh, like, I need this knitting pattern. I'm like, I didn't knit this. I'm like, I got this at a flea market and I thought it was amazing, but look online, maybe you can find another one. But oh my gosh, like, I get so many comments and people stop me to take pictures of it at Disneyland. It is the greatest thing at Disneyland. Bacon and eggs. America. So you guys...
America, that's right.
You guys have got the right podcast.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you are hitting all of my Twitter handles right now.
Yep.
Definitely. Oh, I am. I really am. That's
so,
the best.
As long as we're not on topic here for 2 brief seconds, Tessa, are you aware that you have a Wikipedia page, but only in German.
No. That's amazing.
Really?
I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, you have like de.wikipedia.org/wiki/Tessa netting, Tessa_netting.
Whoa.
And it is entirely in German.
Well, I have no idea, but that's incredible. I've been to Germany once for RingCon, a Lord of the Rings convention, and it was the best cosplay I've ever seen in my entire life.
I believe it.
Like, people were
I
Ents.
totally believe that.
People were actual
Yeah,
Ents.
that
And I'm
doesn't
like,
surprise me in the slightest. People go
Wow.
all in for their Lord of the Rings. Like, if you're a guy that loves, or a girl, or a person, or, whatever you want to be called.
An Ent?
An Ent, yeah. If you're a hobbit or an Ent or whatever that loves Lord of the Rings, like, they go all in. It is their whole life.
I was so impressed. It was amazing. But I did not know that. Wow.
Yeah, you have a Wikipedia page that's only in German, and I can, like, parse some of it together, kinda, because, I mean, some of the words make sense, but it's just German.
Hey, I'll take it.
Yep, it lists a little bit about your Leben, which I'm going to assume is your life, and then filmography, which is pretty much spelled the same.
Great.
Yep.
Wow.
There's a picture and everything.
You know what? I'm impressed. Hey, I don't know how these people found me. Maybe through the internet, maybe through Bunked. I don't know, but that's really great.
Maybe through RingCon.
Maybe through that. Maybe they just saw me.
Yeah, maybe somebody there was like, "Oh my gosh, this person's amazing."
I need to create a Wikipedia page. Hey,
Right.
that's great.
So there you
Oh,
go.
wow.
You do.
Cool.
You do, if I'm not mistaken, have an IMDb page, correct?
I do, yes.
Yes. So you're
Yes,
officially our
yes.
first guest with one of those.
Really? Oh, cool. No, I love my IMDb because it reminds me of things I've done.
Oh gosh.
I have a horrible memory, so I'm just like...
Looking at
wait,
my own credits.
I'm like, wait, because I remember doing the thing, but I don't know exactly when. I'm like, what year did I do this? And then I'll look and I'll be like, oh, right, that was 2 years ago, not like last year. Good to know. But yeah,
That's so cool.
it's fun. Acting is
Fair enough.
fun. Get to like play pretend and do different things. And
Yes.
I can say this, but I can't say anything more than what I'm about to tell you. I was actually on set of the second Fantastic Beasts movie, and it was
Were you really?
I was invited by Warner Brothers to come, and I got to be on set. Colleen Atwood dressed me as a 20s wizard, and it was incredible. One of the best days of my entire life, and I can't say anything else about it, but people will find out more when the second movie comes out, because I will be releasing a video about it. But,
Did you have a house? Can I ask that?
Did I have a house? Oh, like,
Yeah,
what is my Ilvermorny house?
Yeah, what were you, like, given
Yeah,
one?
like did they assign you?
No. They didn't do any of that. It was more just like on the set and looking at the different. I can't say anything else.
Okay.
I don't want to get in trouble.
What
Hot
is your
takes here on
Ilvermorny
Bacon and
house?
Eggs.
Oh, my Ilvermorny house is Horned Serpent.
Horned Serpent.
Yes.
Okay. Fair
Yes.
enough.
We haven't done Ilvermorny houses here on this podcast.
Oh, you
I have
should.
no idea.
No, we haven't, and I can't log back into the freaking whatever I did when we did the sorting. But last time I took it, I was a Thunderbird.
Ooh,
which is cool.
interesting.
I
What's
guess.
your Hogwarts house?
Ravenclaw. Like
Ravenclaw.
every time I take it.
Yeah. Woo.
Yeah.
So I think I'm supposed to be a horned serpent.
No, like
That's the parallel.
There's different places where you can fit into the different houses. There's a really great like Tumblr master post somewhere where it lists like each Hogwarts house and each Ilvermorny house and kind of where the overlap is and like how it's your mind versus your soul and all this different stuff. So it's very interesting. So look on the internet on Tumblr and you can find it. So it's
Fair
really
enough.
cool.
I will have to do
Good
that.
to know.
Yeah,
Tumblr's a scary place, but I will do my best.
it can be.
Fantastic Beasts and where to find them.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's get into
Let's
it.
talk about the movie a little bit.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
When I first saw this movie, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. It finished, and I was like, "Okay, that was it. That's the best Harry Potter movie. Thank you. May I have another?" Like instantly. It was just. It felt somehow more magical, and I think it was literally because I wasn't comparing it to anything. I wasn't like, "Oh, here's my favorite scene from the book they left out. Here's this
Right.
thing they did wrong. This person doesn't look right. Why is Hermione wearing a pink hoodie?"
Right.
I had nothing to complain about. I was just like, "Oh my god, it's magic."
Right. Well, for Harry Potter fans, it was our first time seeing something without having, like you said, a book to compare it to. So it was like a whole new experience, and also J.K. Rowling, you know, being in control and being able to write it. And that's a whole different thing as well. So seeing both of those things, it was amazing. So cool.
It was amazing, and it was cool to see I still have the problem with the wizarding world where it's like, what do you do when you graduate?
Right.
Like, does everybody do the same, like, 3 jobs?
Right,
like,
right. Mm-hmm.
How does that turn out? But it was cool to see, like, Aurors at work and, like, you know, Newt doing his whole beasts thing, and, like, the beasts were all really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was really cool to see, like, the adult side of it, where it wasn't like one of the potential challenges being like, I don't know what spell stops Dementors.
Right, right. Like they know how to use magic. This is adult magic. This isn't like children.
Right.
Yeah.
You take away any of that complication. Like, Newt is obviously a like qualified wizard.
Yes.
Bona fide.
Yeah. Even though he's not, because he got expelled from Hogwarts for doing something related to, I imagine, Lena Lestrange, but Lita Lestrange.
Yeah, Lita.
But his wand was not snapped, or is that not how it always works? I don't know.
It is not how that always works. In book 5, when Harry does the Dementor thing in book 5, they talk about how it's a different process for like expulsion and wand snapping.
Mm-hmm. It's a different process. Yeah, it was just Hagrid that got his wand snapped.
He killed somebody.
Yeah, that's a little. Allegedly. Hagrid, no.
I mean, they did hire him after that, so it wasn't like...
Freaking Dumbledore. I love Dumbledore.
Well, even you see in this movie where Dumbledore definitely has some influence over that whole process, even when he's just a teacher.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. That's what I love Dumbledore. That, like... Just looking at this new trailer and seeing, like, Jude Law and the Ministry come in and him, like, giving them that look, like, yeah, that's right, I'm here. It's, like, such a Dumbledore, like, move. Like, him just messing with the Ministry. God, it's the best.
So, how old is Newt in this movie? Like, is he supposed to be...
I'm not exactly sure.
Because I was trying to work out part of the timeline earlier.
Right.
And a lot of it gets a little funny here in the 20s.
Right.
Because, like, you know, Newt was supposed to have been at school with while Dumbledore was a teacher. Mm-hmm. But, like, when this movie is made, Dumbledore is, like 35, I think.
Oh, I don't know how old Dumbledore is. Dumbledore also lives, like, super long, so he might...
Dumbledore was apparently born in... No, sorry, he'd be like 40, because he was born in 1881.
Okay.
So I'm thinking...
He dies in 90.
I guess they're trying to say Newt is, like, super young, like, in his 20s.
I mean, I can see that. People, like, even though he looks older, he could be in his 20s. He has that baby face.
Well, and he looks like he's a little grizzled, you know.
Yeah.
He's experienced a little bit more life than I have.
I mean, look at his wand and his, like, all those beasts. That would take a toll on a person.
Right.
Yeah, what's up with his wand? That's a wild...
Oh, I have his wand.
Do you?
Yeah, here, I'm gonna go grab it. 1 second. All right. Oh.
You had that super readily available.
Yes. Oh, I have a whole, like, Fantastic Beasts, like, case over there.
Gotcha.
Oh my god.
Yeah, with tons of things in it. But here's Newt's wand, and it's actually really cool because it's like a shell. So it's the only wand that was made from, like, natural materials, and it has, like, bites marks on it because he holds it in his mouth all the time, and also because, like, and I'm sure different beasts have, like, chewed on it and stuff. But it's supposed to be made, like, naturally, so it connects him with nature. So
well, apparently, according to harrypotter.wikia.com/wiki/Newton_Scamander, he was born February 24th, 1897, and his name is Newton.
Newton! How cute!
Oh, that's so scientific. How cute.
Newton Artemis Fido Scamander.
What
Scamander.
a name. Artemis. I freaking love Artemis. Artemis Fido.
Yeah.
Great.
So that's...
Did you see Ready Player One? Did you like it?
I thought it was okay. I love the book, so it's almost impossible to do that book. Like, for what the technology is right now, I think they did a pretty good job, because
I definitely agree with that.
It's impossible to do that book perfectly because of what it is.
I 100% feel that about, you know, seeing when they were going to announce that they did the movie, and I was just like, why?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Just let it be.
Yeah.
But Spielberg did a good job of being like, just forgive some things, man.
Right.
And we'll make it through this.
Right. And I think that's kind of why this movie's really cool too, because the effects are like the beasts. They were believable. It was kind of amazing. Like it never took me out of it, like when they were doing the magic and also when they were interacting with the beasts, because I felt like it was real. It was amazing. I was blown away by those effects.
For sure. We went forward in the range of magical creatures and backward in the realm of like goblins. Because that guy in the bar looked a lot less believable than Griphook.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it's because they should have used an actual person, like they did, doing the makeup. They should have done that again.
Yeah.
That
I
would have
100%
been
agree with that.
Yeah.
Tessa, you've been in a bunch of like actual films and things. Have you done anything like major with CGI before?
No, I've never done anything with CGI. The closest, no, I wouldn't even say that was CGI. Like, I did a voice in a video game, and I didn't get to do mocap, which doing mocap is so cool. You have all these, like, dots on your face, and it's, like, following your every move. But I had to do a dub of a Japanese game, so it was really interesting because I had to listen to a specific, line that the character was saying, and I had to fit the English in the exact same timing. So it was actually pretty difficult, but then once you get a hang of it, then you understand, like, okay, so you're like, you listen to the Japanese and you're like, okay, 1, 2, 3. So you like get that beat and then you're like, I have to say this in that same 3 seconds. And it's very interesting, but fun. But I've never done anything with like super special effects. Like the biggest thing that I've done, I was on Disney Channel, and we did stunts, and we did stuff with actual animals all the time.
That's cool.
Yeah, we've had, like, a ton of animals on the show, but they don't have the budget for that kind of stuff, and the main, like, movies that I've been in and done stuff for is mainly voiceover, so that's all, like I got to do lay the initial track for the Peanuts movie for Fifi, so that was really cool because I got to go to Skywalker Ranch, and that was amazing.
Oh my gosh, that's so
pretty
cool.
I was like freaking out about that alone. I'm like, this is fine, like, you don't have to pay me, but actually you should, but this is enough.
But you don't have to.
I know, I was like, this is so cool. I was freaking out. They're like, do you want the tour? And I was like, yes, please, show me around. It was so cool.
Show me everything.
I know, exactly. And they have a coffee stand called Java the Hutt, and it was awesome.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it was great. It's the best. But yeah, I love when special effects don't take you out of the movie, because that's something that, like, that is one thing in Ready Player One where I got taken out of the movie a couple of times because it was just too obvious.
Yeah.
Especially
the scene with like Sorrento in the chair, and they were not there, and like, it was like the sort of in between Oasis thing.
Yeah, I mean, you read the book
and
it's supposed to be indistinguishable from real life.
Right, exactly.
Which it was not indistinguishable from real life.
Yeah,
right.
It was kind of obvious, but not the beasts.
No, yeah, that was the first time I got taken out of it, was when they got to the speakeasy and there was that, I guess he was a goblin.
Yeah, he was a goblin.
It kind of just felt cheesy, like they were sitting there going, oh, well, can we make a goblin look American?
Right.
Like, let's give him a mustache.
Did he have a mustache?
I think so.
He did have like a little bit of facial hair, I think. I can't remember. But
let's make him like smoking a cigar and sound like he belongs in a speakeasy.
It was a little much. I agree. That probably was the moment where it could take you out of it, because like the magic on the door and like them changing the outfits, like that was so flawless, and then even going in there and like the stuff floating around, and but then when it gets to that level of detail and that level of like dialogue, when you're actually looking at their mouths and looking at them talk and having like a conversation, that's when it can really take you out of it, because they're speaking. And that's like a little too much. Oh, there he is.
Yeah, I just shared a picture of Narlac.
Oh man.
Yeah, he definitely looks like a cartoon.
Yeah, it's a little too
name.
much.
I could not remember his name.
Narlac. Yeah, Narlac.
I thought I thought I liked the speakeasy. I loved the little costume change. I liked that they did that. But I thought it was so like
20s.
Just want to remind you, this is the 20s.
Yeah.
In case you forgot.
Well, it did win like an Oscar for best costume design.
The first Oscar for any Harry Potter franchise movie.
Oh, that's okay. That's Ron Perlman playing Narlac. He looks exactly like Ron Perlman.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, he does.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, listening, Ron Perlman was like Hellboy and a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that makes more sense. And I can see where they're going for with the let's get a familiar face, even though it's a goblin thing. But it was kind of weird. But the costumes were great.
Costumes were incredible. They were one of my favorite parts. Honestly, like seeing Newt's, like, okay, I have a story about this. So when I first saw the promotional image, the first one that was released for Fantastic Beasts, it was like Newt in his coat with his wand, and it was like just him, and it was with a building, and it was like Fantastic Beasts. And I don't remember exactly when, but that year it was Black Friday, and I saw a coat in Kohl's that looked exactly like, and I only had that image to go off of, but I bought it immediately, and I've worn that coat for multiple Newt cosplays, and oh my gosh, it is perfect. And that whole Newt's outfit, his Doctor Who outfit is how I like to call it, because it looks like his doctor outfit. It's perfect. Daniel Radcliffe even was like, I'm so jealous that he had that amazing outfit, and I did not.
Well, the whole thing is designed for him to stand out without, like, standing out.
Right.
It's like, this is our main character, but he looks like everybody else, but it's a little bit different. It's like, coats definitely don't particularly come in this color. It's not navy blue, it's not gray, it's not royal blue, it's blue. It's just like, it's like Crayola would call that, like, Scamander blue.
It really is. It's so beautiful.
The off purple pants and the whole thing, I'm looking at a picture of him right now, and it's just a great outfit that, and even this person in this picture is kind of looking at him like, son,
you look good.
Right, because he looks just different enough.
Yeah, but it's very Doctor Who, isn't it?
He looks like 10 meets 11 in a Christmas special is what I'm looking at.
Yeah, with that really skinny bow tie. Bow ties are cool.
Right.
They are.
But no, the magic in this movie, especially the effects for that, it was so subtle and kind of understated. It made you feel like they really were professionals trying to stay under the radar.
Yeah.
As opposed to the actual Harry Potter movies are like, we're at Hogwarts, we can do whatever we want. Nobody cares.
And they're shouting, Expelliarmus!
Yeah. Newt's just kind of like he secretly pulls Kowalski across the room at the very beginning of the bank. Oh, dude.
Yeah.
The whole movie was super aesthetically pleasing. Whatever you say about the story, whatever anything else, it just looked cool.
Oh, yeah.
It did look cool.
It was stunning. That's why it won Best Costume, and that's why, like, the cinematography, it felt like Harry Potter 2.0, you know? It's like taking these children and taking it to the next level, and then putting it in the 20s and putting it in America. I'm so glad that they did that, because it made it so different from Harry Potter. You just weren't even, like, comparing the two. So I appreciated that.
Well, and
I definitely wasn't watching this and being like, this is very similar to Harry Potter, the first movie.
Right.
Like, this is not even remotely similar. This is a whole different thing.
And I was afraid when I saw that David Yates was directing it that it was just going to be as dark and as muddy and, like, not that the last Harry Potter movies didn't look cool, but they were a lot. They were very dark and gray and depressing and just hard to watch. And this one, it had a lot of color to it. It had a lot of vibrance. It had a lot of a very good standout between the magical world, which is clearly cool and colorful, and the no-mage world, which is kind of just gray and depressing.
While we're on it, there is a huge mistake.
It's not a mistake.
What? What's the mistake?
The word no-mage is so stupid.
Yeah, but you know what? It's also stupid. Everything that Americans say.
Everything?
Every little, like, way that we
swerve.
I mean, she's got a point that don't yeet me.
I'm trying to say stupid things Americans
She's got a point though, is like we are much more informal compared to the British, the English, in the way we talk about almost everything.
Yeah, we also put things together stupidly. It's like no magic, no match. Like, of course we would say that. Like, that's...
It says the girl with a German Wikipedia page. Do you know what they do in Germany? They just like
push
like
everything together to be one giant
everything's just words
Frankenword.
put together.
Hey, that would be amazing. I want to know like that sort of word because the word for France, because the next one's gonna be in France, is no magique. So that's what they say for like no mage or a muggle. They say no magique. So
I would be very satisfied if they do a little like Star Wars story thing where they like gave Han Solo his last name with the word muggle. Like if they take me back to England like 200 years ago or whatever, and somebody says muggle and they're like the British people are like, what? And they're like, and then they say the long version of it. I would be so pleased with that.
that'd be cool. That would be cool.
Because that's how soccer got its name. The people in
Right.
Oxford were like association football shortened to soccer. So I'd be satisfied with a muggle backstory as well.
Yeah, totally. But I agree. Like, no match sounds like weird. It does sound.
I just
kinda
disagree
dumb.
with that. To me, it sounds American. It sounds like exactly what we would call it.
I mean, that is true, but it also sounds dumb. But I mean, we also say dumb things. So
This movie is very much shot from the lens of America's stupid, backwards, and wrong.
Yes. Oh, yes.
Like,
There
you
is a lot of
can't-
that in there.
You can't deny that. As long as we're talking about America and the America represented in the movie, the greatest thing to me is when Tina has her shield moment where she's like, "Yes, I'm from the Magical Congress, of the United States of America," and Newt just goes, "Oh, Makuza."
Yeah, the Makuza. Which is so, like, on the nose, like, the Magical Congress is a bad group of people, and you shouldn't trust
Right, it
them.
literally sounds like Yakuza, the Japanese mafia.
Yeah.
kinda-
Which, if you're listening, we do not want to
Kind
upset
of
you.
beats you over the head there with, maybe you shouldn't trust these people.
Yeah.
If you didn't learn from Cornelius Fudge, they're not all great in the government.
Yeah, they really, and it's interesting how they touched upon the whole like Muggle and magical relations, all that kind of stuff. Where they're like, "What do you mean, like a Muggle and a witch or wizard can't get married or fall in love and all this kind of stuff?" I'm like, that is interesting. Let's talk about that. I thought it was great.
Talk about that.
I thought it was cool.
Yeah, well, they're so backwards. One of our Facebook group members asked just a question about this where they, actually, maybe they didn't ask a question about this, but their question made me think of this, where it was like the Makuza would be like sort of double standardy.
Yeah.
Where they would be like, how could you, like, why didn't you tell us about this
Right.
before? But when she was telling them before, they were like, we don't care if it's not a major
Right.
issue.
Yeah.
And then they're like against the Second Salemers, but the Second Salemers are basically doing the same thing. They're being like, we don't want wizards. And the wizards are like, we don't want the no-mages to know about us.
Right.
And
Well, the thing is,
Like-
the Second Salemers aren't supposed to know that they're correct.
That is true too.
that there are witches and wizards. It's like they're supposed to be treated as crackpots, like they are in the non-wizarding world.
Yeah, it's like Crocker in Fairly Odd Parents.
Exactly.
exactly like that. By the way, I want to meet Butch. So if he...
Oh, what a guy. He's so cool. I also wore this bacon and egg scarf around him and he loved it. He really appreciated it. But, they reminded me a lot of Crocker, where they're like, we swear, it's true, it's real. And then it's like...
Right, and no one listened.
Right.
The actual wizards are just like, man, you guys are idiots. You
Right.
have no idea what
Yeah.
you're talking about. And
Right.
the no-mages are just like, man, you guys are idiots. There
Yeah.
are definitely not witches.
Yeah. It's interesting how they set it all in, like, that's kind of, like, Ilvermorny is in that Massachusetts area, and, like, Salem and all that kind of, I thought that was all very interesting and cool and fun.
I mean, Ilvermorny had to be there. Like,
yeah.
Salem obviously had to be for a reason.
Right.
If you're going to introduce witches into America, witches and wizards into America, it's like you got to use that mythos that's already there.
Definitely.
Right.
Definitely.
And especially since, like, Harry Potter is, like, an augmented reality of the world we live in,
Right.
kind of like the Marvel universe is, where it's like, oh, we can explain, and we can sort of add our own mythology to this history and explain it away.
Right.
And,
Yeah.
Right.
Nah.
And I mean,
you don't get that issue with Star Wars. That's all I'm saying.
and I don't know if you guys have ever been to, I know Ty's been to Salem, he was with me, but I don't know if you've ever been to Salem, Massachusetts, but regardless of whether or not witches or wizards ever lived in Salem, Massachusetts, like, that place is creepy.
Really? I've never
Yeah.
been.
You can just, like, something's up there. I don't know what it is. I don't necessarily know if I believe in the paranormal or whatever, but, like, something
do.
about that place is funky.
I want to go. Ilvermorny, Massachusetts. Would you choose it? Would you choose it? It's the school song. They cut it from the movie. I was so mad. They should have kept it in. It's so cute.
I've never heard that.
Really?
Yeah, I hadn't either.
Oh my gosh, look it up. They have Queenie sings it, and it's like
What
the cutest
does she
thing
just
ever.
like bust into song when he talks
Yeah!
about there being a school
Yeah!
in America?
Yes, it's amazing. But it's like, I get that, because I used to do that too. My school had like a stupid little song, and I used to sing it, and it's like, I get it. School pride.
That's so cool.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you say, can I get a crew check anywhere around me, I will immediately go into our school song,
Right.
our school chant.
Yeah.
And I like their little like Ilvermorny Hogwarts banter, but it just wanted me to like know more about Ilvermorny. But I think we're going to because of Jessica Williams and her character that we found out. She's apparently like an Ilvermorny professor that's going to be introduced more in the third movie, and I'm like, heck yeah, let's go to Ilvermorny!
So they're making what, 5?
Yes. And they were only supposed to make 3. Like, they were contracted for 3. And then J.K. Rowling was like, J.K. Well, that's my name. Just kidding. J.K. we're doing 5. And everyone was surprised. Like, that was legit surprise. It's crazy. Only she could have that type of power. To be like, just kidding.
Well, she
We're
is
doing
the
fine.
second most best-selling author of all time.
Right. I mean, and also, like, Warner Brothers, they need her.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm pretty sure if she goes to Warner Brothers and is like, hey, I would like to sell more movies for you, they're not going to be like, no.
Which is weird because this movie just didn't do that well.
What are you talking about? It made its money like 6 times
Right,
over.
but like compared to the other movies we've reviewed on this podcast, like this is mid-tier like phase 2 Marvel money.
I know, but
That's
did you
true.
think it was gonna do, like, I don't think anything can do as well as, like, a Harry Potter, and even the Harry Potter movies didn't do so well, you know?
So I
Yeah,
believe
they
this is
definitely
the
didn't do
worst
Star
selling of
Wars
all the
well.
Star Wars or of all the Harry Potter movies.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. So it's not like it was the next big thing ever, but
No, but it was something that could keep the wizarding, like, magical world alive, and also something that Warner Brothers could be like, okay, we know that it's gonna make this, you know? Like, I don't
Yeah,
think
for sure.
they were expecting it to be, like, Harry Potter, but they were expecting it to do, okay, we at least know this is gonna be worth it for,
Yeah.
like, an investment.
it was the 8th best-selling movie of 2016, but it had a hard year.
What else
Yeah,
was...
2016 was a good
What
year.
Captain
else
America:
did-
Civil War was the number 1, followed by
yeah, that
Rogue
was so
One,
good.
followed by Finding Dory, followed by Zootopia, followed by the live-action Jungle Book, followed by The Secret Life of Pets, which was garbage, and Batman
Yeah,
vs
it was
Superman,
garbage.
which was also garbage.
Oh, yeah.
And then Fantastic Beasts, and then Deadpool, and then Suicide Squad.
Oh, wow.
Well,
He
and-
Deadpool. It's interesting.
When we did the bracket a while ago, which is, I don't know if you followed that on Twitter, but when we did the bracket, we did them by box office, is how we seeded everything.
Ooh.
And Fantastic Beasts wasn't supposed to make the bracket because it was like the 17th highest grossing in its category.
Yeah.
And each category got like 16. And so we were like, well, we've got to include it because,
Ben Carlin overruled that.
right, Ben gets to decide those things. And we put it in and it made it to like the Elite 8.
Yeah,
That's it.
So people,
It beat like all the other Harry Potter movies.
It has... It's because it's a good movie. It's a good standalone movie. Like, I had a lot of friends, and I have a lot of family members that, you know, don't know that much about Harry Potter, and I'm like, just see this with me. This will be, like, a good movie. And they enjoyed it. They're like, oh, that was fun. That was, like, interesting. That was cool. Like, fun, animals, magic, great.
And I
Yay.
legitimately know people that have read the Harry Potter books, love the Harry Potter books, won't watch the movies, but will see this.
Oh, that's interesting.
Yeah, because they won't watch the movies because they're like, they're disingenuous to the books. It's not canon. I'm like, whatever. But there are people that feel like
Fine.
that, believe it or not. It's strange, but it is a thing.
With canon, I feel like people should just create their own canon and, like, decide for yourself what your canon is, and then, but don't try to push your canon onto other people's canon. I'm like, your canon is fine, but just keep your canon to yourself.
What you're describing is Tumblr.
Yeah. It's so true. It's so true.
keep your canon to yourself. It's like,
I think there's your little soundbite for the week, Tyler.
right. I think to me it's like there's so many things you have to be careful about when talking to people these days, and that's good that we're like gaining that awareness. But I feel like keep your canon to yourself is just not one of those things.
I mean, it's one of those things where I don't like when people try to say, like, oh, you're not a true Harry Potter fan unless you've read all the books. Like, if someone enjoys the movies and that's, like, what they love about Harry Potter and that's why they're passionate about it, great. Or if someone loves Cursed Child, like, that can be part of your canon if you want that to be. But, like, so I don't like when people hate on each other for, like, you're not a true fan unless this, or this sucks, or this is not good. And I'm like, come on, just let people enjoy things.
I'm 100% on your side. Like, when people raise the gates of whatever to, like, you can't be a part of this, group of fans of a thing.
Yeah.
Unless you've ingested all of it. Like, that was the greatest thing about Disney buying out Star Wars, is that all of the edgelords that read, like, every Star Wars book before that had, like, nothing anymore, right? It was like, everybody can be a Star Wars fan again.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And, like, a lot of these big selling media franchises, blockbuster stuff, it's like, yeah, they're on some level, they're kid friendly, they're family friendly, like a lot of the Marvel movies, a lot of the Star Wars movies. But then you got to jump in these arguments about Harry Potter sometimes and be like, hey, y'all know these books are about 11-year-olds, right? Like,
right.
This is about children.
Yeah. Yeah, I've had that argument about the newest Star Wars movie in Trader Joe's. So I was wearing, like, a Star Wars shirt, and this guy that was, like, checking out my card, he's like, so you saw the new Star Wars movie? I'm like, oh yeah, I really loved it. And he's like, yeah, my son really loved it, but I hated it. And I was like, oh, well, that's okay. And he's like, no. I was like, my son should hate it. And I'm like, no, he doesn't have to hate it. I'm like, these movies are for children. He's like, no, they're more than that. I'm like, no, they're for children, but they respect them and they make them, like, complicated. Like, they're teaching them themes. They're not treating them like children, but it's still for children. Like, you grew up with this as a child, correct? And he's like, yeah. And
right.
I'm like, yeah.
You're still allowed to love it. That's a great thing, but it's like, children are also allowed to love it. Like, the new ones are still gonna be for kids.
Right, exactly. And it's like, come on, man. Like, you can not like it, but you also might not like it because you're older now. Like, if you were a different age when you were watching the thing that you loved, you might think differently as well. So it's like, I don't know. People need to chill out and just like things and enjoy things and let other people enjoy things. Like Fantastic Beasts. I loved it. I thought it was great.
Quick question. So you're a self-described geeky fandom type girl, right? I'm not far off on that basis.
Yes, you're
How
correct.
often do you get, like, gate checked by people trying to be like, oh, are you a real fan of stuff?
Oh my gosh, all the time. Like, you would be surprised, and especially because I have a horrible memory. This is a little too much, but I've had 5 concussions in my life. That's what you get from being like. It makes me more creative. But from being a dancer and all that other stuff. But I have, like, a bad memory when it comes to memorizing things. So, like, I don't do
acting
that.
Was the career choice, of course.
Seriously, you wouldn't even understand how much harder it is for me than, like, a normal person. But I just really love it. So I actually, have to sit down and take more time to memorize things. But anyway, I'm not that good at trivia. Like, I don't remember things that well. And so people will be like, oh, you're not a real fan. And I'm like, just because I can't remember, like, the specific date or specific thing that does not mean that I love something any less. So that always rubs me the wrong way when people are like, oh, well, you're not a real fan, or all this kind of stuff.
Right. Like, is this first century Bethlehem? Are they quizzing you on the Torah? Like,
exactly.
It's fine. Okay?
Exactly.
Were you given a multiple choice question when you finished watching this movie to ask you if you could identify a Niffler?
Yeah. It's that exact thing. Like, in that review, I was just saying, like, I was thinking, dude, come on, like, those little details are obviously there for more intense fans. Like, you don't have to remember what these things are called if you don't want to. You could just
also
enjoy it.
If you want to remember what they're called, there's a handy-dandy little book. It's about, like 45 pages long, called Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. It's been out for like 15 years.
Right. That is so crazy that that's what she chose, like, as a foundational place for this story. When it was first announced, I was so happy, but also so surprised. I was
it definitely came out of left field.
Yeah.
But it was also, like, the only textbook, like, they weren't going to do Hogwarts a history. Like, it was the only textbook that you, like, if you watched the movies, like if you were a base level fan and you watched the movies, which is fine, we're okay with base level fans here, and you watch the films and you said name one book from Harry Potter, you'd say Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them, or you'd be like the monster book from that one movie.
Do they mention Fantastic Beasts in the movies, though? I don't think they do.
I think they do, because they say Newt's name, don't they?
Yeah, at some point.
They do, but they mention Hogwarts of History more in the movies.
Yeah, but that would be such a boring movie.
That would be but I'm just saying, like, I'm thinking if I was saying what was the textbook that I think of from movie watching, it would be Hogwarts History, because Hermione says it, like, constantly.
I would definitely think about the Monster Book of Monsters.
That's another one,
Just because it kind of, like, tries to eat Harry on screen.
Yeah.
Oh, I was thinking of that. Is that not Fantastic Beasts?
No, that's the Monster Book of Monsters.
Yeah. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them is like a specific textbook. And we don't see it. I don't think we see it.
I don't think so either. It originally came out as it was the same size as Quidditch Through the Ages. It's a little tiny, like, red and gold book, and it essentially lists all of the beasts. It's got like a little thing about them, the Ministry of Magic classification, whether or not they're dangerous, and all over it, it's got like handwritten notes from Ron.
Here's the OG.
Hey, look, there it is.
There it is. Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them. And it
I
has,
have
like,
that somewhere.
Yeah. So this was like the OG, and it has little like notes in it and stuff. I thought this was the coolest thing. I
did too.
Whoa.
I got it for Christmas when I was like, I don't know, whatever year it came out.
Right.
I was very young, and it was the coolest thing. I just read it over and over again until like my copy pretty much fell apart.
Yeah, but it's so interesting. And also, I think, I'm not sure, so look this up to correct me, but I think that Warner Brothers nailed down Quidditch Through the Ages as well. Like, they have it on, like, they copyrighted it, or they have it on,
there are new
like,
versions of both of them.
No, not the book, the rights to make, a movie. Like, a Quidditch Through the Ages, like, movie.
Oh, yeah, I mean, for sure, I can't imagine they wouldn't.
Oh, I want it so bad, and because can you imagine, like, a Harry Potter sports movie, like, Remember the Titans, but, like, Quidditch Through the Ages, and
About the Holy Head Harpies?
I want a Ravenclaw lead. We haven't had a Ravenclaw lead yet. This is another thing we can talk about is, like, Puffs on the Rise, Hufflepuff power, how it's amazing that Newt Scamander's a Hufflepuff, and it's giving Puffs everywhere.
And they give him the scarf. They go all in on it. Like,
yeah.
He's got the black and yellow scarf, and that was just such a cool thing that they didn't, under any circumstances, have to do. Yeah,
they didn't have to, but I loved it so much more because he is such a Hufflepuff, and he's such a Hufflepuff hero, and just in how he's so kind and how he's so caring and how he's not your typical hero. He's not your typical, like, macho hero, or he's not your typical, like, Luke Skywalker, Harry Potter, like, orphan boy.
Blatant
wonder.
Gryffindor.
Yeah.
Right. He's just kind of a guy who's just kind of fumbles through the whole thing.
Yeah. But it's nice. It's refreshing. I love Newt Scamander. Newt Scamander is my favorite character out of the whole movie. Second would be Queenie, but
my favorite character is Kowalski.
Yeah, Kowalski, easy choice there.
Really? Both of you love Kowalski?
Yeah, no, he just brings so much, like, because he's the first Muggle to kind of he's a no-mage, but he's the first Muggle to get to, like, experience it.
Right.
On screen. And you get to see that whole childlike wonder of him when he goes in the box with Newt and just looking around at all these creatures and the landscapes and everything. Yeah, Jacob Kowalski. What, like, a perfect, like, name, and what a perfect... I loved his, like, little bakery dream. It was so great. Oh, yeah,
And I loved at the end when he's got the bakery and it's got, like, the nifflers.
Oh, that was so cool,
stuff.
It was so cool. And they're just like, Kowalski, where'd you get your ideas? And he goes, I don't know if they just happened, because he had got halfway obliviated, because she put the umbrella over him halfway through the rainstorm. Tears were falling along with that rainstorm on my side of the movie. I was just
I cried. I teared
so
up.
Sad.
It was.
Oh, I was tearing up there, and then I definitely cared more about the Kowalski relationship, and I was like, I don't want them, I knew it was going to happen, but I was like, the new Tina thing, I'm not about.
Yeah, I think it didn't really take away from the movie, but it didn't add anything.
It made sense, but it wasn't, like, I didn't want it to be like, oh, every male character ends up with one of the female characters. It's 2 and 2, let's hook up. You know, there can be a Joey and Phoebe in a movie, okay? They don't all have to get together.
I mean, Newt's super cute at the end when he's just like, he pops back out of nowhere and he's just like, would you be upset if your copy was delivered in person?
Yeah, that
And I was like,
I mean,
okay, I'm Team
it's
Newt
cute.
there. Like, Team Newtina, I'm good there. But until then, I was just like, Newt's so awkward. There's no way he would, like, actually do this thing.
Right. I feel like that's gonna go somewhere though too, you know, because this is only if we're having 5 movies, that something has to happen. Like their relationship has to go somewhere. You can't have like 2 intense relationships.
Well, if you want to know the answer to these things, definitely do not go to the Wikipedia page harrypotter.wikia.com/wiki/Newton Scamander.
I mean, I think a lot of people know because it's in the book. In the Fantastic Beasts, it's dedicated to, you know, his wife.
Porpentina Goldstein.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. So we know what's gonna happen there. But I don't know.
She's a Thunderbird. Yeah, Thunderbirds, what's up?
She is a Thunderbird. She is such a Thunderbird too.
Oh.
Such an Auror Thunderbird.
You're so good at just like straight at identifying people as these. It's like
Yeah.
blowing my mind.
Yeah.
No, I love sorting. It's one of my favorite things.
I can just never remember the Ilvermorny. I haven't dug too much into Ilvermorny, and so I can't ever remember what they kind of stand for, what they mean off the top of my head.
Okay, there's Thunderbird, Horned Serpent, Puck, Wedgie, and Wampus. Wampus is like warriors, so it's about body. Horned Serpent is more mind, and it's like scholars. Thunderbird is about adventurers, and so it's like spirit. And Puck Wedgie is about like, I think, heart and being like, you know, it's more of like the Hufflepuff being kind. And so it's like mind, body, spirit, and heart are like the 4 Ilvermorny houses.
Right, and you have the 4 statues, and you go up to the statues, and any of them can light up, and then you
So
pick.
cool. That's crazy. I love like.
I'm doing my test right now, so we'll know
Ooh.
momentarily while you all riff on this.
Yes. Can you imagine being your first day at Ilvermorny, and you're like the kid everybody picks on? Can you imagine going up there and all 4 statues light up?
Right? Oh my gosh, that would be the dream.
Yeah.
That'd be incredible.
That's like a movie waiting to happen.
Oh yes, I won an Ilvermorny movie. I thought Ilvermorny was so interesting. When we learned about all those different schools, I'm like, we better go to every school. I want to know about each one.
Beauxbatons and Durmstrang and Ilvermorny, and I imagine there's one in Asia.
There is. I think it's Japan. I'm not exactly sure, but there is definitely one in Asia, and I just want to know about all of them. It's so cool. It is crazy though that there's one wizarding school for like all of North America. So it's like, do people travel from all over? Is it a big school? Are most magical people wiped out at that point? Because it's interesting to think about. Like, that's such a large span of land.
Well, I mean, you think about it, like, there's really not that many people at Hogwarts.
Right,
Because there's what, like 5 girls and 5 boys in Gryffindor in Harry's year. Mm-hmm. So there's like...
That makes sense, though, because they were around the time where, like, they were in war.
Right, so there's like 40 students a year in Hogwarts. And I mean, granted, the movie doesn't add up with that because there's just ton of people everywhere.
Right.
Oh.
But that's, yeah, so I guess there's just not as many magical people, which would make sense. I mean, it's probably a little different, but I don't know. It's cool. I want to know about all of the magical schools.
No.
And all
of the things.
And all the magical places. Like, I like how they're going to different cities in each one. How this one, like the first one was in New York, and now this next one they're going to Paris, and then maybe the next one they'll go somewhere else. Like, I just want to see the different wizarding communities in different places in different countries, and it's great. It's showing that, like, other people can be wizards too. Like, there can be French wizards. It's not just all about Hogwarts and the UK.
What I thought was really interesting is Newt has to take a boat to get to America. Mm-hmm. Like, he can't just apparate?
I think there was a law against that. Like, they were trying to keep people out. So, like, that was the only way that he could... Like, I don't know if it was like that before, and they recently put that, you know, stoppage in there, but...
Yeah, because I've always thought about that. I'm like, why was Voldemort just trying to take over Britain? Like, would he not have gone to the rest of the world, or was the rest of the world just kind of like, y'all have fun?
Yeah, that is true. Like
in 28 Days Later, where the zombies just take over Britain and the whole rest of the world's fine.
Right. It's like, did Voldemort have, like, bigger plans? Like, or was he just like, nah, I'm good with just this area?
I just want to kill this one kid at this one school in this small country.
God, freaking Voldemort. Teenagers, just... That's it.
Darn meddling
this
kids with their talking
This
dog.
70-year-old man that can't murder a teenager.
God, I love it. It's so great.
I have been sorted.
Yes?
What house, Ethan? What house do you think I'm in? Do either of you have any idea?
Tessa, remind me what they are again.
Okay, so there's Thunderbird, that's adventurers. There's Wampus, that's warriors. There's Puckwedgie, that's like heart and kindness. And there's Horned Serpent, which is more like scholarly Ravenclaw Slytherins.
I think you're a Wampus.
What do you think, Tessa?
I would say Horned Serpent. Go into my house.
Okay, I'm a Wampus.
Boom!
Wampus!
The warrior.
Oh my gosh! That's
okay, so I've known Tyler for like 14 years now.
Uh-huh.
And you've known me for like an hour and 14 minutes.
Right. So.
That's awesome!
Oh,
my
I'm so
gosh.
glad I got that right and I didn't just look like an idiot on my own podcast.
Hey, now you've proved your friendship.
So we're not in the
Right.
same house for Ilvermorny.
Correct. That's interesting. We've never not been the same anything.
Really?
Well, our wands are also not the
Nor
same.
are our Patronuses.
Are you guys both in Ravenclaw?
We are.
Yes.
We're all Ravenclaws?
We're all
Heck yeah.
Ravenclaws.
Yeah.
Oh, that would make sense. Like, doesn't it make sense that Ravenclaws would make podcasts? Like, duh.
It does. I feel like it would make sense that Ravenclaws make podcasts consistently.
Yeah.
I feel like a Gryffindor can make a very good
Yes.
episode
Yes.
every
Every other 6 months.
right.
It's so true. Like, the consistency and, like, just analyzing different things and talking about
Right.
things and, like, ooh, discussion.
Well, I just, my
Such
favorite
Ravenclaw.
Tumblr page I think I've ever found is whatever one that just keeps listing reasons Harry Potter is not a Ravenclaw.
Oh my god.
It just picks out different parts of the books and movies and it's just like, here's where Harry was stupid.
Harry is very dumb, but I also love him very much. That's great. Oh my god.
Yeah, I mean, he's the quintessential hero's tale character who
is.
just has
He is.
absolutely nothing going for him whatsoever. Harry Potter.
Harry Potter.
He can talk to snakes.
Yeah. But he's just kind of...
Can you talk to snakes?
That's his
Can you talk to
Slytherin.
snakes?
That's his Slytherin qualities, though. You know, that's not his qualities. That's Voldemort's.
That's true.
You know.
But he was
his Voldemort side.
good enough to convince the Hat to put him in Gryffindor.
That's true. I like the theory that everyone in Gryffindor has to convince the Hat to be in Gryffindor. That's like my
Yeah, I
favorite
feel
theory.
like if he got under the Hat and the Hat was like, I mean, Slytherin really is an excellent choice
Right.
for you, and he was like, I don't know, man, the Puff sounds kind of cool. Hat would have been like, you are a Slytherin every day of the week.
Yeah, I mean,
No,
the
because it's
Slytherins...
brave.
The
It's brave
Slytherins
to
are
do
about
that.
being Slytherin, the Hufflepuffs are about their loyalty, the Ravenclaws are
Yeah.
about being wise, and Gryffindor's
Yeah.
about wanting to be a Gryffindor.
Yeah, that's like what it is. Like Gryffindors have to stand up to the Hat and be like, "No, I want to be in this," and that is brave. It takes guts to do that. To be like, "You are wrong. I want to be in this house." That's such.
I mean,
a
it's
Gryffindor.
true. You
That one
definitely
where-
kind of
where
get that
Ron
from a lot
is,
of the
he's
characters.
nice.
Yeah, because Ron is a Hufflepuff, Hermione's a Ravenclaw, and Harry's a Slytherin, all in Gryffindor.
Right,
you
and
know?
they all
Yeah.
wanted to be Gryffindors. Like Ron wanted to be a Gryffindor because his whole family was. Sirius
Yep.
Black wanted to be a Gryffindor because his whole family wasn't.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Like, I love that theory. I know it might not be true, but that's like in my
Hermione
heart. I love
Hermione
it.
wanted a challenge, and she knew that Ravenclaw wasn't going to challenge her because she was already so smart.
She's like, I got this. No, it's so cool. I like to think about. Have you guys ever thought of the Fantastic Beasts characters and what like Hogwarts houses they would be in? Because it's very fun.
I have not. Can you sort everybody?
Yeah, so I like to think that Jacob would also be in Hufflepuff with Newt, so they'd be like Hufflepuff best friends, you know, like
I'd be a total
saving
Puff, yeah.
the day together, Puff style. And I like to think that obviously Tina is a Gryffindor. She's like the Thunderbird Gryffindor, and then Queenie, I think she is more Ravenclaw. How she's like, even though she's kind of ditzy, I think she's smart in
Well,
the ways.
she's
That
a mind reader.
Right, she like analyzes like situations differently. Like she looks at everything and uses like certain things to her advantage, and like that's how she navigates. She thinks like a Ravenclaw.
Yeah, when she busts Kowalski out so they can go rescue Newt and Tina together.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think she's more of a Slytherin.
You think she's Slytherin?
Yeah, because I think she's a little sly. She's
She
a little
is.
like, she's reading people's
She's
minds even when
not
they don't
ambitious
ask them to.
though. That's always the biggest like when you figure out if you're a Slytherin or not is the ambition there.
Well, and it seems like they keep attributing being an accomplished Legilimens to being a Slytherin. Because they keep talking about how good Snape is at it, and they keep talking about how good Voldemort is at it.
Ooh, Ooh, that's a good point. That's true. That's true. It could be a very Slytherin quality. Ooh, you might have just changed my mind. I love that. It's like my favorite thing.
The world may or may never know. Who knows?
Oh,
actually, I'm sure if you just at J.K. Rowling, she'd be perfectly happy to answer all of your questions to degrees you didn't even want her to.
Gosh.
I don't know. She was rude to Ben and Jonathan that one time. She might respond and be like, "That's ridiculous. They would be in Ilvermorny because they're American."
Yeah.
I mean, they are in Ilvermorny.
I have a little bit of an issue with J.K. Rowling and her presence on the social internet, and I haven't made this I've made this clear plenty of times.
How dare you?
I just, at some point, you gotta let it be mysterious. You can't answer every question.
I mean, she doesn't answer every question. You know how many questions she gets? So many.
Yeah, but can you imagine if, C.S. Lewis or Tolkien had Twitter?
Yeah, but that's the problem, and that's, the issue that everyone has with J.K. Rowling, but it's she's not dead yet, guys. Everyone thinks about, all these other authors, and it's this is cool that she's alive during when this is so popular.
Hey, John Green,
that's amazing.
John Green wrote a whole book about don't ask me questions about what happens after the book. It's called The Fault in Our Stars. You know what happens after the end of the book? The book ends.
I mean,
whatever you want
happens.
And that's another, and this is again why I say people can choose their own canon and keep it to themselves, because you don't have to look at her tweets and you don't have to take her tweets as canon if you don't want to. You don't have to look at her. You don't have to follow her. But I think it's fun. I think she's great. She is my queen. But
I mean, she's obviously great. I'm not sitting here disparaging J.K. Rowling or anything she's done for the world.
No, I mean, a lot of people have issues with her, and that's totally fine. You're allowed to have, your own opinion about people and about kind of what she's done with her world, but it is her world still, it's still hers. It's from her brain.
So I'm going to ask a few listener questions.
Let's do it.
So let's see. I've got one from our boy Nathan Anderson, who shares a name with a former boss of mine, but that's totally unrelated.
Whoa.
Nathan asks, how close do y'all think the Fantastic Beasts storyline will come to the Harry Potter storyline when all is said and done? And I'm going to add to his question. Mm-hmm. I want to know, do you think, and maybe you might be like, oh, obviously not. No, that's ridiculous. We're way off. But do you think there's any chance that there is Harry's relatives, and how close do you think it will get to Harry?
Whoa, Harry. I don't think we're going to get to Harry, because I think she did that on purpose.
Right, because there's 70 years between Fantastic Beasts 1 and Harry Potter 1.
Right.
But do you think, you could go up 2 generations to the guy that made the hair care product where they got the fortune.
Yeah, what is his name?
He goes by Harry.
I don't think they're going to go to that sort of... I think we're going to find out about Dumbledore, and I think it's going to end... I hope that it ends with the final duel between both of them, and we'll see, that. But I don't think they're going to go all the way to Harry Potter, and I think they did that on purpose. I don't think they want to go that far. I don't even think they'll go to Tom Riddle, honestly.
Fleamont Potter.
Fleamont?
But he went by Harry.
Did he?
Right?
Really?
I could have swore I heard that somewhere. But he was famous. He's made a hair care product.
Yeah, he made Sleek Easies.
Harry was named Harry, and he has awful hair.
Do you guys think that they're gonna put that in there?
I can't imagine that they will not put that character in there. He lived around that time frame. He was born in 1909, died in 1979, and I can't imagine that him not knowing Dumbledore.
I mean, maybe that would be crazy, but I just don't even think they're gonna touch Potter at all, because they wanted to keep it separate. I mean, Dumbledore
I hope not. He's a student.
Is just having Dumbledore in there is a lot. Because they don't, even though it is a prequel, that would be crossing over into too much prequel. It's almost I'm glad that they did Dumbledore's origin story rather than Voldemort's,
Right, yeah, that would have been really close.
Right.
The thing I have an issue with them putting Dumbledore in is that Jude Law does not have a super long beard.
I mean,
yeah, but
okay.
Jude Law could tell me to do anything.
Jude Law is amazing. I'm so happy with the casting choice for Dumbledore.
I agree. They just should have given him a really long beard, because Dumbledore is described as always having a really long beard.
All right. I can see that. I loved, freaking Colin, what is his name? Now I can't even remember his name. Freaking Graves. He was great. Colin Farrell. He was amazing.
I love Colin Farrell in everything.
Yeah. I was no, don't go away. You were amazing.
Yeah, he would have made a perfectly good Grindelwald. They did not have to change him.
That's what I didn't understand. Like, what...
Right, they could have easily just, like, grayed his hair or moderately changed him, and it would have been fine.
Yeah, they could have gave him crazy makeup, gave him, like, the same type of, like, look, or gave him, you know, a wig, and I would have been on board, because... he could go there. I just didn't know. I was like, no, because I fell in love with him as Graves and as, like, you know, because he was loving towards Credence, and then, like, you saw that other side of him, and then when you saw the Deathly Hallows, you're like, wait a second, is that? But I don't know. And then, like, when it was revealed, I was so on board for him to, like, go all the way. I was surprised when I saw Johnny Depp. I was like, what? No.
What I did love in this movie related to Graves is how much foreshadowing they did give you to the fact that he was Grindelwald. That you would only notice kind of the second time around when you've seen it again. You didn't catch it the first time. You're just like, oh, that's weird. Like, he has the Deathly Hallows thing. Like, he says for the greater good out loud.
Yes.
And so there's definitely a lot of kind of, oh yeah, this guy is terrible. And he does wandless magic, and no one's worried about it.
I know.
Is that like an evil thing?
That's not a
thing.
Yeah, that's a power thing.
Yeah. That's like an insane like power thing.
It's like,
you're like
Tumblr went nuts when there was that one scene in one Harry Potter movie of the wizard in the Leaky Cauldron.
It's an Azkaban.
The wizard in the Leaky Cauldron stirring the spoon with his finger. Reading A Brief History of Time upside down.
Oh my gosh, yes, I remember
and
that.
There's a whole,
like, who is this
There's
person?
a whole fan fiction about that wizard.
Oh, I love Tumblr.
But yeah, no, so like wandless magic is supposed to be next to impossible.
Yes.
And Graves is able to just kind of summon the suitcase to him and do a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Just without a wand.
And Colin Farrell did such a great job, and this is another like sort of thing where when it was adult magic, they took like combat classes with these wands and they made the wands more weighted so that they felt more like weapons, you know? Because like with these kids, they're just doing like spells, and then at the end of the movies is where they're really battling. But here, like right at the beginning, like when they're using magic, it's very like defensive or like offensive, or like there's a difference when they're battling and when they're just like doing simple magic. It's so interesting. God, it's so cool.
Yeah, and there's like a speed and a cadence to it almost, which I think a lot of people like, you know, don't realize, but like when they shoot the bolt, it like makes sense, the timing they have to deflect it and stuff like that. Like it's not instantaneous, but it's also not slow. It is very interesting.
Right. It's so intricate.
The apparition mechanic too is really cool, where they kind of like spin inside themselves.
Yeah. God, I love adult magic. It's so cool. So cool. I love it.
So, what are y'all's favorite parts of this movie? What did you like about it? What did you not like about it?
Ooh, I'm gonna let you guys go first.
Yeah, on the spot, Tyler. Go for it.
Oh dear. Oh my gosh. I love like I do with a lot of movies. I think you'll see a trend in my beliefs. I just love the first act and the second act, the world building and the, you know, like establishing the scene for North American, United States, New York, 1920s. As we zoom in on it, just the world of magic and what it was like at the time, and the characters all sort of introducing themselves, and then like, you know, there's Kowalski's character who's trying to open a bakery and he's supposed to be pretty freaking good at it, and then he goes and he has the strudel
Kolachki. He's got Kolachki.
What
is that?
It's what he makes.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
what he gives to the banker.
I did not even know that.
Yeah, it's like
everybody knows Kowalski's Kolachkis.
He's like a Polish immigrant to New York, and he makes his grandmother's Kolachki recipe.
Oh my gosh.
Recipe.
But yeah, and like he's so okay with it when they. I love Kowalski's character. He's like, I didn't get the loan. Oh well, I guess I'll go back to the candy factory. He's so not like he's ambitious, but he's definitely not a Slytherin.
Right. Totally. Total Hufflepuff.
Yeah. But I love the world building, and I love, you know, I think my favorite scene though is when they're in the case.
That's mine.
And you get to kind of zoom out, and it's like little sets, but they're infinitely big, and it's so cool. It's
amazing. I was gonna wait and see if one of you guys said that, because that was my like by far my favorite part of the whole movie was going into the case.
Same.
Yeah. It's like going into the TARDIS for the first time. It's bigger on the inside, and it's incredible. And you look at it, and you're like, I want this my life. From
the moment they enter the case to the whole time that he and Kowalski are like rounding up all the animals.
Yes. I just loved like his little workshop too. Like it was so cool looking. Like when he was like fixing his wound and all that. I'm like, this is amazing. Like he just and then so he's in his little workshop place and then he opens up and you're like, wait, this is like an entire like like a habitat for all these different animals. Like, whoa, it's so much more than I thought it was gonna
And Newt's just so awkward about the whole thing. As he is about everything, he just whispers all the time, and he's just kind of like, yeah, I mean, I'm just Newt. I do what I do. Like, I know animals. That's my thing.
Oh.
Right, and I don't know what the most delicate film critic way to talk about it is, but like I love the mise en scène with the case where it's like it's exactly as big as it needs to be, but you can definitely tell that it has finite limits. I thought it was really cool where like it was like a stage. It was like, you know, you couldn't walk like out of it per se, like you could just walk into another room, but like the parts that mattered were lit, and it was really cool just the way everything was placed. So I really liked the case. That was cool.
Yeah,
it felt like you were inside a giant suitcase.
No, they really nailed it, and they kind of had to though. That was the one bit, like that and the animals, like the case and the animals, like that was a thing where when you found out that like, oh, Newt's case is like bigger, then you're like, okay, if you're walking into this suitcase, then this better be like insanely magically, like, you know what I mean? Like this has to be magical. This has to be like an insane moment, and they nailed it, like in my opinion.
Right, because in the movie when Mad Eye Moody was in a case, I mean, it looked like the case was just, it happened to be over a dungeon.
Right,
you know, and, like, they opened it up and it was just like a hole that he was sitting in.
You think it's the same case?
It's definitely
no.
not.
No.
The other one was like a...
Was it a chest?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a chest.
Yeah.
Okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, but they've done that a couple times in Harry Potter, like the tent in the Quidditch like match when he made that bigger, and you know, Hermione's bag and all that kind of stuff.
Her
like,
little
they've
change
done this
purse
magic
that holds the
before.
sword.
Yeah, it's the best. God, I want that so badly. It's like so cool.
I wanted a scene of her just like ripping stuff out of it looking for something, and we never quite got, where she's just pulling out a bunch of crap.
Yeah, that'd be really funny.
If you remade Harry Potter as a comedy.
Oh, give me that miniseries. Come on. Make it happen. Actually, I want a Marauders miniseries, but that's me.
Have you seen the video of Half-Blood Prince cut as a trailer for a teen comedy?
Yes, it's amazing.
I'll link it in the description. It's probably one of the funniest things I've ever seen.
It's good. It's great. There's also another trailer of it's Harry Potter edited to the Avengers trailer, and it's amazing.
What?
Yeah.
I gotta find that.
It's great.
It's like there was an idea to get a group of people together.
Yeah.
So
whatever.
What is your favorite part of this movie, Tessa?
Oh, okay. Well, besides the case, which is my favorite part, but we already talked about that. It would probably be. I'm trying to think. I really liked the whole going into Central Park and like the whole Erumpent thing. Like I liked his little mating dance. I thought that Erumpent was so cute, and it was realistic looking.
Yeah,
and
felt
it was
super
funny.
magical.
Yeah, I was like, oh, this is a fun like side quest.
Side quest.
I liked the setup of this movie where it was like, okay, we have to catch these beasts, and then there was like the overarching thing that was happening. It was very like supernatural, where it's like, oh, okay, we have to fight these demons, and then overall it's like, oh, you know, the Leviathans are like the main thing that's happening.
Yeah,
so
I mean,
that was, you know,
Graves is really holding the story together while Newt just fumbles around New York City looking for his monsters.
Right.
Yeah, it was definitely, you know, like the Herculean legend where, you know, there's bigger titans at play, but you got to do your 12 tasks.
Yeah,
for sure.
So I really liked it. I liked those kind of little, like, each little animal had its own little obstacle, and we got to see, like, the animal itself and see, like, a different part of New York, and I loved it. I really loved the movie. I thought it was a lot of fun, and it just, you know, it kept my attention the whole time, but also I personally really love Eddie Redmayne. Could you think of anyone else that would be like a better Newt Scamander than Eddie Redmayne? Because I cannot.
I mean, the only person that comes to mind for me is like David Tennant. I don't know that he would be better. But, you know, he could do it, I feel like.
Andrew Garfield. Not better, but I think he could do pretty well with it.
I'd be cool with like Childish Gambino.
Donald Glover.
Donald Glover as Newt Scamander. That's a crazy idea, but I'm like,
I've decided
down.
just now that I want a future TV series that is just a cop show with Donald Glover as Dean Thomas Orr.
Wizard cops. Just Harry Potter.
Man, I just found an image search of people that I guess maybe have been considered for the role or were considered. And in here is Cillian Murphy.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ooh, good call.
Yeah.
That would have been good. It'd have been
That's
different, but that would have
Yeah.
been good.
That would have been different.
Ewan McGregor, Tom Hiddleston.
Ooh, I could have seen that.
Ooh, I love Tom Hiddleston.
Tom Hiddleston
I
definitely
love
wouldn't
him
have been
so
as
much.
awkward. You would have gotten a lot different. You'd have gotten a lot more of like a Slytherin newt.
Exactly.
Do you know who would have been?
Mm-hmm.
You know who would have been just as awkward in a bow tie?
Who?
Matt Smith.
Matt Smith would have nailed the Hufflepuffness, because every other person that you're telling me right now, I'm like, yes, they would be good, but they would be giving you that classic hero vibe, and they couldn't give you that like awkward Hufflepuff trying to save the day and happening to be in this position. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, I mean, Tom Hiddleston, like Loki, is like the quintessential Slytherin.
He is. Oh, like Slytherin god.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
Well, and I mean, Eddie Redmayne was definitely
the god of mischief.
Eddie Redmayne was definitely a conscious choice when they made this movie, as he was like the biggest actor in the world.
Well, yeah, and also he's a huge Harry Potter fan, so like that's really cool too. I always respect that.
Yeah, which is I love when people are fans.
Yeah.
Of the thing.
Yeah, because then they can like
doing,
really
and not
enjoy
just,
it, and they understand where it's coming from, and they understand the importance behind it. Like, you know, Ivana Lynch, like when she became Luna Lovegood, she was a huge fan of Harry Potter, so it was that much more special to her and to the character, and I think it really, like, she understood the importance behind, like, that character, you know? So I think that's really cool.
Right. I totally agree. We're on the same page.
Any criticisms you guys have about this movie?
Obscurial.
Yeah, that whole
what
thing
about
was
it?
stupid.
It was too confusing. Like, it took me a couple watches for me to be like, what is this thing? Like, why is it evil? Like, what? It's a lot. It's something that would be better explained in a book if you were reading it.
I feel that.
You know?
And I feel like as much as they hyped it up, it was killed very easily by some, like, cops.
Right.
Well, I mean, it wasn't killed. Like,
No.
it's definitely still alive.
Yeah, I mean, you see it
Yes,
crawl
it
over the
is.
thing or whatever. But
Yeah, no, Credence is in the next movie for sure.
yeah, but you know what I mean.
Yeah, like...
Yeah. That was my biggest sort of, you know, complaint about it, was that was the big evil thing that everyone was so hyped about, and it also came out of nowhere. Like, even though it was causing this mayhem, it was kind of weird. That was the one thing which I didn't really like that much. Like, I wish it would have just been like Credence possessed or something instead of like this round orb of darkness.
Right.
You know?
It was just like, that thing is evil, and you can tell because it looks like literal chaos.
Yeah.
Right.
It's like a salt sand monster.
Right. But I mean, I'm thinking that they're talking about it because of, I'm guessing they're going to bring up Ariana and Dumbledore and all that kind of stuff.
That's what I'm thinking.
So that's like the only reason why I was like, oh, okay, this is why this is here. But I don't know. It was just that was a little much for me personally. But.
Tom Holland.
Do not talk about my boy! Oh my gosh. You guys do not understand how much I love Tom Holland. Do you know that Tom Holland was a Billy Elliot?
I did not.
Get out.
That sounds awesome.
He was a freaking Billy Elliot in London, and he was in Billy Elliot at the exact same time that I was, so he was probably almost gonna be in the American cast. So I used to babysit all the Billy Elliots, so I was this close to babysitting Spider-Man. This close.
Do you have his phone number? Like, how do I get in touch with him?
No, I've never met him. He was, because our cast was not, like, connected to the London cast. We never got to, like, meet them or talk to them or anything. Like, the people were, like, we had the same director, like Stephen Daldry, and the same people, but we never got to meet the other actors from the other casts and stuff like that. But when I found out that he was going to be Spider-Man, I was like, holy crap, he's going to be the perfect Spider-Man, because Billy Elliots do all these flips and everything. They're like acrobat, crazy children. So I'm like, of course he's going to be Spider-Man. He's perfect. But
Right.
But like, I don't know. I can't see him as Newt still, because he doesn't have that gentleness like with animals, you know, that Newt needs to have, that Eddie Redmayne does so beautifully.
I don't know. He's Spider-Man. Like, spiders. Like, the thing that people hate.
What?
He's Spider-Man.
Yeah, but that's different
So
than
make
like
him young
carrying.
Hagrid. Whenever
Young
we end up in the
Hagrid.
40s, make him young Hagrid.
Young Hagrid. Oh my gosh. Oh man, I do love Tom Holland though. What a perfect Spider-Man. Anyway.
What a perfect human. What?
So true. So true. But I really did love Eddie Redmayne as Newt Scamander. I have no complaints on him, even though some people do, but I do not. I stand.
Okay, I'll allow it.
Yay!
He can stay.
Yay! People think he might not be in all of them.
That's silly.
Isn't that
and
crazy?
Dumb.
Isn't that insane? I'm like, really? They think that they're gonna like phase him out and bring in more Dumbledore and Grindelwald, which I mean maybe could happen, but I mean we don't know. It could happen.
It could.
But I think that would be crazy.
It could. It could definitely happen.
But like,
They can do
would
whatever
it
they
still
want,
be
turns out.
Fantastic Beasts? Yeah. They have the power. We do not. We have no power.
That's true. We have none whatsoever. We are nobody.
Yeah. Oh, but it's crazy to think about where it's gonna go because there's 5 movies. That's so many movies. That's a lot of
Hey,
movies.
you gotta think they can't all be about Newt. Like, I mean, they can, but like,
They made 8 movies about Larry Potter.
Larry.
they could have made like 11.
Yeah,
I'm
a
glad
lot
they
of those
did.
movies could have been 2-parters.
Yeah. It's, I don't know. It's just, we don't really know where it's gonna go, but I think that it's gonna end with Dumbledore and Grindelwald's, like, final face-off. That would make sense to me, and bringing everyone back together, but I don't know if, like, all the cast is gonna be in, because I know that, you know, Newt and Jacob and Tina and Queenie are all gonna be in this next movie, but I don't know how much, and then I don't know if, like, he's gonna meet new friends in Paris, because we know that his brother's gonna be in this next one, and, like, so it's like, is his brother gonna be added? Is, like, who's gonna be added to this squad of people that are, like, is it gonna turn into, like, a Team Dumbledore, or, like, versus the Ministry, or... are they gonna
Dumbledore's
be, like,
army.
Hey! The OG Dumbledore's army. So, I don't know. We shall see what happens.
We shall
But
indeed. We gotta wait until
I
what,
think
November?
Fantastic. Yeah, November. Oh, I can't wait. I can't wait. It's gonna be so good. But Fantastic Beasts, I think, was a good starting point. It's a good first movie. Solid.
It was good. I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, no, wait. I'm not supposed to... I'm supposed to not like.
No, you like it.
You liked it. It's a very good origin story. Origin stories are tough.
It is.
They are tough.
It is. Hey, if these are the Harry Potter prequels, we're great.
They're a lot better than the Star
Yeah,
Wars
seriously.
prequels.
Yeah, exactly. It could have been a lot worse.
Credence could have been like that kid from Phantom Menace. Be like, I'm a person and my name is Credence.
That's so wizard, Anakin.
Right? Like, you think about it where you're like, this could have been so much worse. Anyone that complains about, like, these, I'm like, these are Harry Potter prequels, and they are not that bad if you are looking at them from a negative perspective. They could have been so much worse.
Oh, I will agree with that. Okay, well, let's go ahead, and I think we're mostly tapped out about the movie.
Okie dokie.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and start moving it toward the direction of wrap up. We have a few things to cover here. We got to rank the villain, as well as we got to put it in our overall movie list, and we have to give it a breakfast food.
Okay.
Yeah, we gotta compare
Yeah, we
it
gotta
to
compare it
breakfast.
That's what we do at the end of every episode, is we compare our movies to a breakfast food. If this movie was a breakfast food, what would it be?
Wow.
We've had some pretty interesting
That's-
ones so far.
That's a great question.
Over the course of like 38 movies we've reviewed.
Wow. Then you guys must be experts on all the different types of breakfast food then.
We got some wild answers.
Really?
I'm googling if something is breakfast right now because I think it fits. So we're super experts because we have the internet at our disposal.
That's true. Everyone can be an expert with the internet.
Right.
Well, it's like
So
every week I say how long ago the movie was released, and just last week I bookmarked the webpage that I used to tell me how long ago the movie was released.
Yeah, it's a great tool.
We're getting
Are we
there.
doing the breakfast question? Is that what we're doing
So
now?
first we need to rank the villain, which I guess is Graves.
Yeah, I guess we're counting
Yeah,
Graves.
he's the manipulator.
Right. So
we-
Graves.
He's the
We
liar.
rank him on a list between Tommy Lee Jones in Batman Forever as Two-Face and Heath Ledger as the Joker in The Dark Knight, the greatest and worst movie villains of all time.
That's That's so funny. So, like, where is he in between them? Or,
Yeah,
like,
where does he
you
fall in?
rank-
But is he more toward the Ledger side? Is he more toward the Tommy Lee Jones side? Is he somewhere in the middle?
I think he's literally like straddling the middle.
That's what I was thinking too.
Yeah, he's like, yep, that's a movie villain.
Yeah, because
And-
Colin Farrell does a great performance, but it's like it's not that great of a character.
Yeah, right.
Like, it's extremely predictable that, like, that guy's gonna be the bad
Yeah,
guy.
he just looks
I can
like a
tell you
bad
right
guy.
now. Right.
Like that haircut makes you a bad guy.
He's got the Brad Pitt from Fury haircut.
Yeah.
And the freaking the like white scarf.
The white scarf. That's funny.
Hey, I had a white scarf at my wedding.
Yeah,
Oh,
you
are
looked
you
an awful
super
lot
villain?
like Grace.
I don't think so. I don't have that kind of jawline.
Yeah, you were definitely less handsome than Colin Farrell, but most human beings are.
Yeah, most people are. That's a hard place to go to.
It's crazy to hear him because his American accent is not that great.
I mean, most British American accents.
I mean,
aren't
it's
that
better
great.
than Benedict Cumberbatch in Doctor
Oh,
Strange.
Benedict. Oh, Benedict. I felt like his was better in Avengers, though, but maybe because he didn't say as much.
It was definitely better in Infinity War, but he also
Yeah, in
never said
Infinity
Dr.
War.
Palmer.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. He didn't have as many lines, so it was a little easier. But I think he was right in the
I'll
middle.
give him right in the middle. I'm looking up our list of every movie we've ever.
Well, I've got it
I
right
need to
here.
look at it too, though.
Who's your favorite of all time?
My favorite.
The Force Awakens.
Oh, movie?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Of all time, let's say in general.
or the
like,
ones
on
that
our
you've
list
done
right
so
now.
far.
The ones we've done are The Force
The
Awakens
Force
is the number
Awakens.
one on our list.
Oh, interesting. I loved Force Awakens. I'm down.
Yep.
And then Infinity War. And then the.
Yes, Infinity War is my favorite
Yeah.
Marvel movie. It's the best.
Yeah?
It's the best.
It's our favorite too.
I don't feel so good, Mr. Stark.
Oh my gosh, I was a mess. I've never, well, actually, no, that's not true. But that was the most I've cried in a movie since probably either a Pixar movie or Fault in Our Stars. And it's like, what?
I mean, like, when you go to, like, do an acting job and they're like, you have to cry in this scene, are you going to think about that scene? Are you going to be like, Tom Holland is dead?
Yes. Yes, that's what I'm gonna think about. Because also, I like love Iron Man. Like Iron Man and Spider-Man are two of my favorite characters, so it was a lot for me.
Yeah. Like, after Spider-Man Homecoming,
Yeah.
it's very tough not to be like, that is by far the most interesting chemistry between characters in this series.
Yeah, gosh, what a great like dynamic both of them have. It's like it's perfect humans.
So, as long as we're on that subject, is this movie better or worse than Spider-Man: Homecoming?
Oh, is that where we're going to start?
Let's give it a narration, not a narration. Let's give it a narrow down from there.
Yes.
I think,
Yeah, it is.
so Tessa, to give you a framework, it's not going to be in the top 6, I can tell you right
That's
now,
fine.
which is what is the
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens.
Force Awakens, Infinity War, and then Empire, New Hope, Return of the Jedi, Monty Python and the Holy Grail. That's 1 through 6.
Okay.
And then Back to the Future, The Last Jedi, Thor Ragnarok, Black Panther, Iron Man, Spider-Man Homecoming. I am willing to go as high as above Black Panther, but I don't know that it belongs right there.
It's definitely not as good for me as Thor Ragnarok.
Yeah, so that's
Yeah.
it's definitely not better than Thor
Yeah.
Ragnarok.
So-
No, I would agree with that.
And I would say I like it better than Spider-Man: Homecoming.
I definitely like it better than Spider-Man Homecoming.
So we're kind of that's there's a 3-movie space in there that it can be placed. So it's either between Thor Ragnarok and Black Panther, between Black Panther and Iron Man, or between Iron Man and Spider-Man.
I think it's better than Iron Man, personally.
I would actually agree with that.
So,
Iron Man's so good, but
I don't know.
And I think that's
I mean,
you
I-
got 3 origin stories right there. Iron Man, Black Panther, and this one.
Thor Ragnarok's an origin story.
Technically.
As is Spider-Man
Thor
Homecoming.
Ragnarok
I mean-
is an origin
And-
story for new Thor.
Yeah.
Yeah, for better Thor.
That's really
For
funny.
what was Dark World?
Oh,
But we've
man,
already decided
gosh.
that it is better than
Yes.
Spider-Man Homecoming and not as good as Thor Ragnarok.
Yes.
Okay, I'm okay with putting it above Iron Man. What are y'all's thoughts? Is it better or worse than Black Panther?
It's a tough one.
Well, for me, it comes down to this. I like the characters. I like the world building in both of them. I think Killmonger is a way more interesting villain than
And
Grave.
it was
Yeah.
a better story, like overall.
Yeah. Black Panther is actually the most like Harry Potter Marvel movie that I've ever seen. It's so Harry Potter. Like T'Challa is Harry Potter basically. and like Killmonger is like for the greater good is like Grindelwald. Like it's so Harry Potter.
Which is weird because the whole time I was watching this movie, I was like, this is the most Star Wars Harry Potter movie I've ever seen.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Gosh.
I'm gonna
so
agree that
hard
it goes
for
in
me.
there between Iron Man and Black Panther. So that would make it the new 11.
The new 11.
Okay, I can go with that. I can make it. I would personally probably put it above Black Panther only because it's in the Harry Potter universe, and so I think it belongs there. And especially if you're not doing any Harry Potter movies, a Harry Potter movie should be in the top 10. But I'll make it 11. 11 is fine.
I mean, it wouldn't.
11's
It's not going to stay in the top 10 even if we put it in the top 10 this week.
It's okay. Just when I'm present.
We're reviewing
Right.
a lot of heavy hitters in the next week as far as like not necessarily blockbusters but good movies.
Like,
Yeah. No, that's fine. It can be there.
Okay.
That I agree.
Would it make you feel better if we put it in 10 now and then moved it next week?
Yes.
Okay.
we can do that.
Yeah.
Do that.
Great. Let's do that.
I'll put it in the top 10 for you, Tessa.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay. So for now, until Tessa turns around and doesn't love us anymore, it's not. It's better than Black Panther.
Just for now.
For now.
Just for now. Yeah. That's
Fair
great.
enough.
As long as it's in the top 10.
All right, Ty,
when
what
I'm
were you looking up about breakfast food?
I didn't know if tea and crumpets was a breakfast thing, and then I read some Urban Dictionary meanings for tea and crumpets, which I'm going to not encourage. Do not do that.
Oh my gosh.
What is
Do not.
What is the like?
Guys, the answer is obvious here what breakfast food is.
Well, hold on. Let me finish this thought first.
Okay.
What would the English say is the most quintessential American breakfast? Like a cheeseburger and scrambled eggs?
No, it's bacon and eggs if we're talking about the most American breakfast.
Yeah, obviously that's the most American breakfast. Now, Tessa, what is? You said there's an obvious answer
Yes.
here. What is?
It's one of Jacob's creations. One of his little, like...
Oh my gosh, you're so
Oh.
right.
His little
What was the name
animals.
of that pastry?
Yeah.
It's
what-
definitely a Niffler pastry.
Yeah! At the end, when he has freaking, like, themed pastries.
Oh, you're right. The answer is super obvious.
It's the food that's in the movie.
Yeah. I will go with that. It is a Jacob Kowalski original pastry.
Yes! An OG creation.
Perfect.
Oh, it's perfect.
Perfect.
I love it.
Yay! Great.
Oh my
Awesome.
gosh. So what a fun movie.
Yeah.
Oh, like I do like regardless of whether or not it's a good movie, I love this movie to death just because it is so magical and it did give me that opportunity to return to the Harry Potter universe without being like, are they going to ruin my favorite Harry Potter book? Because there was no book for them to ruin.
Yeah. It was a great experience going into it. It was so cool for the Harry Potter fandom for it to be so unknown and to go back to, you know, this magical world. And that's why a lot of fans are so excited for the second one, too, because we're going back to Hogwarts!
And it was so good for all
excited.
Hufflepuffs. Puff
Yes. Puffs on the rise.
power. That's what they're saying. Puffs on the rise.
Yeah, Puffs on the rise. Give it a Hufflepuff hero. Like, you can't deny that Newt Scamander is the most Hufflepuff hero that could exist.
I don't know. Have you seen Ernie McMillan?
Ernie McMillan's the worst.
Justin Finch Fletchley?
Well, if anyone's a freaking Hufflepuff hero, it's Cedric Diggory.
Yeah.
If we're talking about Hufflepuff heroes from the Harry Potter
J.K.
books.
Rowling kind of wrote a lot
Yeah,
of
a hero has to win. Like,
Ooh.
J.K. Rowling wrote a lot of Hufflepuffs.
Yeah, but what about Ravenclaws? There's no, like, Ravenclaws
There's
except
Luna.
for Cho and Luna. Thank God for Luna, or else we get Cho. Just Cho.
Cho is such a boring
Cho
character.
is the worst. Cho ruins
There's
it for
some
everyone.
other, like Michael Corner was a Ravenclaw, I
I
think.
mean, there are other Ravenclaws that exist, but there are no Ravenclaw heroes yet. I want my Ravenclaw
Oh my
hero,
god. Okay,
please.
so hold on. On the subject of Ravenclaw, like, you know the feeling when you're reading back through the Harry Potter books and you're so frustrated at Harry and you're
At how
just
dumb
like,
he is?
you're just like, at Harry, it. But look around for once, because I just read the part in Half-Blood Prince where he takes the diadem of Ravenclaw and puts it on top of the bust, and
Yep.
he's sitting there a whole book later like, where's the diadem? And I'm like, you know where it is! It's with your potion book!
Harry, you touched this before. God.
Okay, so
Yeah.
there's not like a ton of heroes that are Ravenclaws, but I didn't realize this. Lockhart is a Ravenclaw.
He is.
Flitwick is a Ravenclaw.
Well, yeah.
Trelawney's a Ravenclaw. So, like, Lockhart gets them into the Chamber of Secrets or whatever, and he's not, he's not very heroic.
Lockhart is a Slytherin. I'm sorry. What?
It's true.
Lockhart, a Ravenclaw?
He's an author, and he's good at...
He's
memory
very good at memory charms, but
he's
like
also
he is very
ambitious
Slytherin.
to the point of like stealing
His
other
detriment.
people's stories.
He is very Slytherin. I was actually really surprised when I heard that he was a Ravenclaw. I was like, really? I was very surprised.
Well, I mean, on one hand, I can't see 15-year-old Gilderoy Lockhart hanging out in the dungeons.
That's
like
true.
Absolutely under no circumstances could I see that happening.
Oh my gosh, that's the best picture ever in my mind right now. That's so funny.
Like just hanging out in the Slytherin common room with Snape.
Yeah, exactly. Like when they were dueling each other, like that.
Yeah.
Maybe that's the difference. Where you're like, oh wait, maybe he can't.
Still
be a Slytherin.
definitely picking on Severus Snape, even though they're in the same house.
Oh my gosh, that's so funny. Yeah, like the most like Ravenclaw type like hero that I can think of is someone like Shuri. Like, because she's, like, amazing and has these incredible brains, and she's, like, a hero, but it's because she's using, like, she's basically, like, a Ravenclaw superhero, and it's amazing. It's the best.
I mean, if you want to talk about a Ravenclaw hero, you need look no further than Hermione Granger.
It's so true. She is the real hero of Harry Potter, let's be real. But she is a Gryffindor. She's not a Ravenclaw.
She's a Ravenclaw who grew into a Gryffindor.
She is a Ravenclaw. Let's be real.
Well, now I've got to look at all like the MCU people and see who I would.
Well, there's a brunch right there, just sorting the MCU into Harry Potter houses.
Oh my gosh, that's perfect. That's literally our next podcast episode on Fantastic Geeks is sorting Marvel characters into Hogwarts houses.
Is it really?
No way.
That's
so
cool.
Cool. All right, we won't steal that idea.
No, you can do it. You can do it. That's fine. It's a great, fun idea. It was so fun. It's one of those things where we got super heated on Iron Man because he's so, like, he's a genius, but he's also such a Slytherin. Like, his name is everywhere. It's like, is he a Slytherin or is he a Ravenclaw? And same with
I don't know.
with Captain America. Is he a Gryffindor or is he a Hufflepuff? Like, it's so hard.
Captain America is straight Hufflepuff.
That's what we decided, too.
I think you're confusing Tony Stark's ego with his ambition. I don't think he's ambitious because he's definitely one of the more dynamic characters throughout the series because he goes from like, I privatized world peace to we need the government to protect the planet, in Civil War. So he's definitely not a puff. But I think he's a Ravenclaw because I think he's smart and calculated about everything. I think he thinks things through. I think he just has the fame and fortune. I don't, because he's like, he inherits it. He doesn't seek it out.
Right. And that was my initial gut feeling, is that he was a Ravenclaw. But it's hard though, because he's super ambitious. It's like it is there, but it's like, does that overpower like the genius in him, or like how he looks at situations and all that kind of stuff? I don't know. You guys should do it. It's such a fun thing to do. It's so fun.
I can't. When does this episode come out?
This week.
Okay, I can't wait.
Yeah.
That's so fun. Wait, what day do you guys release?
Friday.
Friday. Perfect.
Yeah. So
that's just enough time for you to like shout us out in your episode. No problem.
Oh, we already edited it. It's all ready to go. I know. Dang it. I'm sorry. I wish I would have known.
It's all good.
It's all good. No worries. I guess we just need to sign off.
Let's do it.
This has been a blast.
Yeah.
Yeah. Super duper fun. What do we do?
Go
Who
ahead.
says it?
You did a roll last week. It was great.
I don't know. Thank you for listening to Bacon and Eggs. As always, I'm Tyler Carlin. That's Ethan Edgehill. And joining us this week was the wonderful Tessa Netting from Fantastic Geeks and Where to Find Them. We've been discussing Fantastic Beasts and where to find them. If you got lost somewhere in the mix, no worries. We're here for you. You can find us on Twitter and Instagram. I'm at AmeriCarlin. That's America, RLIN. And Ethan is at Wow Now, and the O's are zeros. And Tessa, your places are...
just at Tessa Netting, and you can find me on YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, and on Facebook I have a show called Me Watching, so you can see that as well. And of course the podcast Fantastic Geeks and Where to Find Them with Brizzy voices.
Yeah. And then what else? Our show is supported by our wonderful patrons over at patreon.com/baconandeggs. If you'd like to join that, you can totally do that. There's a link in the doobly-doo. I definitely recommend at least hitting that $5 subscription, because then you get to join our awesome Discord community where you get to meet all sorts of neat people like a two-headed Hydra.
Oh.
Yeah, very exciting.
Sweet.
What else? All of our artwork is done by Vashaun Brandon. He did those wonderful new logos you're seeing everywhere. They're excellent. We're super thankful that Vashaun is a part of our lives. If you'd like his info, just give us a ring-a-ling. What am I leaving out, Ethan?
Nothing. You're good. Yeah.
Neat.
Great.
All right. I've been Ethan Edgehill. He's been Tyler Carlin, and she's been Tessa Netting. Tessa, say goodbye to everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
We've been Bacon and Eggs, and until next week, arrivederci.
An overwhelming surplus of diggity.